Hi, Rajja here, and I wanted to share with you a way of thinking about positioning you as an authority. So I recently did a training for our members only group about authority positioning, and I thought it would be helpful for you to understand how we think about it and how you might be able to position yourself as an authority in your marketplace as well. I mean, obviously, being positioned as an authority has a lot of benefits. First of all, it makes you somewhat immune from competition, which is the really great thing, because if you are an authority, if you're the go-to person for a specific kind of legal matter, you are going to not face as much competition. You won't be a commodity. And that is a super important thing, especially for attorneys who are feeling that they are compromised because maybe the local economy is bad, maybe there are a lot of other folks in their market, maybe for folks in the consumer space, you've got LegalZoom and Rocket Lawyer and all those folks with huge marketing budgets seemingly taking business. But the actuality is, if you are positioned as an authority, you can sidestep all of that. So let's talk a little bit about authority positioning. And I've, of course, got my wonderful bubbles here, my wonderful Venn diagram, so we can start talking through this. So what does it take to be an authority? So first of all, it takes three things. You need to be a publisher. Second of all, you need to be positioned. And then the last thing, you need to be prolific. These are the three keys to authority positioning, making sure that the market perceives you as an authority. All right? Now let me talk about what each of these things are so that you understand how to put them in place in your practice. All right? So the first thing is that you have to actually be positioned as an authority. So what you cannot do in order to do this, to get this immunity from competition, you can't position yourself as just another. All right? You can't be positioning yourself as the low-cost alternative, because an authority, someone who gets immunity from pricing wars, someone who gets clients coming to them because of who they are not positioned as a commodity. All right, and that's a very important thing. And I see it a lot of times when we get prospective members coming to us and they've got multiple practice areas, and they've done that for good and necessary reasons when they were starting out. They were starting out and, well, they just needed any work they can get. So they add another practice area to their website, and then they add another. And all of a sudden, they're not positioned as an expert in one thing, or maybe two things, or some related things, or a certain market. Rather, they're the jack of all trades and master of none. Okay? So positioning is incredibly important in this for becoming an authority. The second is you have to be a publisher. And I don't mean you have to go and run out and start a magazine or start a legal newspaper. What I do mean is you have to be putting out to the world evidence of the fact that you are an authority. Okay? Because if you are not publishing it to the world, nobody knows. Right? It's impossible for someone to divine that you are or are not an authority if you're not letting it be known. All right? And for a lot of attorneys, it's hard because there's not a lot of time out there, right, in order to publish it, to put out the stuff. And it's one of the reasons why our done-for-you marketing services are so successful, is because attorneys just don't have time to be that publisher, so we do it for them. But regardless, in order to be an authority, you have to publish. You have to get out there and make sure that you are publishing on a regular cadence to build and maintain that authority positioning. And the last thing, prolific. And that is the fact that you can't just publish once. You have to publish regularly. And you see this, and you may have done this, I was guilty of this as well early on, is you might put together one thing, right? So one paper or one marketing piece. And then it lives on your website, it lives somewhere, and you've got that one thing. But the fact of the matter is, true experts and true authorities are prolific. They are constantly demonstrating their expertise. They don't just do things once, because it kind of looks like that graveyard on your website if you had a blog and you blogged for 5 entries and you stopped. Or you had that one paper. And when I was looking for potential referral partners, I would sometimes see that on websites. I go to the website and there's like 3 papers on the website, and they're from 5 years ago. Now that actually sends a negative signal to me, right? Because the person may have been an expert then, but what's happened since then? Have they not really been keeping up on it? So those are the three things that must be true. Now let's look at what happens if you don't have all three, because it's extremely important to understand why these matter, all right? So if you are a publisher, so you've put out some piece of content or a few pieces of content that's maybe helpful, that may be great, and you're positioned correctly, but you're not prolific, what does that say? What does it telegraph to prospects and referral partners? You may not be the real deal, right? Because like I talked about that graveyard on someone's website or the blog that went to nowhere, they're saying, well, did this person fall off the face of the planet? A true authority, someone who's positioned for authority, has to be prolific, or people get that in the back of their head, well, is this person for real? Is their practice on the rocks? They haven't been prolific. They haven't been publishing regularly. So not just publishing regularly. What if you don't publish, you're not really a publisher, and you're doing a bunch of stuff, like folks on social media will do this, right? They're prolific, they're out there, they're doing random stuff, but they're not really publishing quality content. But they are positioned, right? So let's say they got a lot of social media, they got a lot of Twitter or Facebook or what have you, but they're not really publishing the right medium in the right way, and they are positioned maybe. The issue with this really is, again, you're not real, but you're not an authority, right? This is all talk. Okay, so if you're prolific and you're positioned, that's fine, but you haven't published stuff that actually demonstrates to the reader, to your prospect, that you're an authority. So you're all talk, because you're talking about a whole bunch of stuff, but you haven't published it in the right medium in the right way. Okay? And then the last piece here. So if you're a publisher and you're prolific, but you're not positioned, okay? So you're a commodity vendor in a lot of ways, and you're publishing a lot of stuff, and you're prolific. It's just noise. It's not going to help you become an authority because you haven't positioned yourself. You're just someone who's out there marketing a lot, but you're not marketing to a specific end, which is getting high quality clients coming to you for a very specific thing. I'm going to digress for a moment here because some attorneys think that what I'm saying by this is that you have to pick one practice area and just do one practice area. I am not saying that. I'm saying that positioning means that you are an expert for something or someone. All right? So there is the true generalist that takes all comers, et cetera, and that true generalist is going to have a real hard time being an authority. But you can be an authority in a couple different ways. You can be authority, one, in your practice area. So you could be an authority on admiralty law, right? It's like, okay, well, maybe that's not so hard because there aren't so many of them. But so you can be an authority on something, on intellectual property. So you could be a patent attorney or something. You can be an authority on that. You can also be an authority to a specific audience. So can you be the authority to, I'm just going to pick something out of a hat, dentists? All right. So another way of being an authority is the attorney who handles everything for dentists. And of course, I'm picking dentists out of a hat. It can be anything. I actually know somebody, a former colleague of mine and friend, and she is an equine specialist, horses. Right. So she's helping everything having to do with horses, whether it's horse contracts or horse litigation. Now, she is an authority to somebody. And in that way, you would think, well, you can't be an authority if you're doing, both the contract stuff and the litigation, and so what is this thing? But that's not true. She's an authority to a somebody. All right. So when you think of it in that way, you need to publish, you need to be positioned, and you need to be prolific. So I want to ask you: have you been publishing? Right? Have you been publishing expertise-related content? Not social media stuff that's just going out there. Actually, expertise content that shows your expertise either in a specific area of legal practice or to a specific audience. Are you positioned? Have you positioned yourself as that expert so that you're not taking any comers, right? So that it's not like some new kind of matter comes in and it's like, oh, I'll throw that in the bucket too. Are there folks that you will say no to because there are things that you don't do? Because the more things you say no to in terms of practice areas and types of clients, the better your positioning is and the more magnetic you become to the folks who are perfect clients for you. And lastly, prolific. Are you doing it regularly? Or are you guilty of the blog graveyard or the 2 published papers on your website? So all three things of these must be true in order to authority position. And so I'll challenge you to see where are you on this process and how can you get this stuff done. So the fact of the matter is it is very difficult to do this if you have a thriving practice or just a survival practice even, and you're trying to get all this stuff done. It's one of the reasons, again, why our done-for-you services are very effective. It's because we take all this stuff, we interview you, we understand your positioning, we do the publishing for you, make sure it happens regularly. But if you're going to do this, whether it's with us or by yourself, you have to think about getting all three of these done. If you would like to talk to us about having this done for you and if and how we can help you, we would be happy to talk about it. You can see a link on this video somewhere, and that link will take you to our calendar where you can book a complimentary 10-minute session with our practice growth team. And really, the whole point of that call is just to see if and how we can help you. Sometimes it's a fit, sometimes it's not, and that's okay. We want to help the attorneys who understand that there are models for positioning themselves as authorities, for getting great referral business, for growing their practice, and they want to invest the time and energy into doing that instead of just treading water and thinking that there's no way out of the box. So once again, you'll see the link on this video. Go to that place and book a call with our practice growth team, and we'll be happy to help you.